Hello, friends. Hi, how are you guys doing today? Good? I hope everything is well. Ooh, it's a warm one today. Yesterday we had Storm Debbie. Hurricane Debbie came through town, and definitely, it doesn't. You can't tell. You can't tell here where we are, because it's blue skies. Right now, look at that sun. That sun is shining bright, and it's been a wonderful day. I mean, we're outside. We indeed are outside. Let me plug my phone in. Today, it's a beautiful day. Yesterday, I finished Cosmic Queries, the book by Dr. Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, I'm still working on Super Communicators. I have about an hour to go, but I wanted to hone in on something else, a little bit different today, which I took a little break. I was telling you yesterday that as I'm driving, I'm listening to these books all day, and sometimes it's just it becomes a little bit much, and I just need a little bit of a break. So I alternate between the books and between the contents that I am consuming. The content that I am consuming. So I was on TikTok, and I came across a Jim Rohn page. I guess you could say it's a Jim Rohn fan page, really. And he has some solid information that continues to inspire and lift up. And I've heard of Jim Rohn the first time years ago. Jim Rohn was kind of like the person that launched Tony Robbins into the stratosphere, and then he took it, to his own level. Big fan of Tony Robbins as well, and a lot of people in the motivational circuit, and the personal development circuit know who Jim Rohn is. And I was listening to one of his 2-hour seminars. As I could do, I will listen for 2 hours, and I just love the way that he talks. But one of the things that he talks about, that it stood out to me, was that hard times come to everyone. Hard times don't just come to bad people. Hard times come for good people as well. And he gives an example of a farmer who plants a seed, and he's ready for harvest, and he works 10 to 12 hours a day. He loves his wife, loves his children. He's a hard-working man. When it's about time to reap. When it's time to reap, he a storm comes and takes out his whole harvest, and he has nothing for the winter. And then he asks the question: is what did the farmer do wrong? Nothing. Why did that happen? It just happened. Sometimes it happens. So that was a thing that stood out to me. Another thing that stood out to me is the idea of complaining and having a list of excuses for why things go wrong. And I definitely have had that list. I've had that list. This is why my life is where it's at and why it's not further along. To be transparent, again, this is what this page is for. This is for peers. You guys are my peers, so I'm being very transparent here. We have this list where we say, well, if the taxes were lower, you know, I'd have more. If I had a different job, I'd have more. You know, if I won the lotto, I'd have more. You know, I love those memes that talk about if I win the lotto, you know, I wouldn't tell anybody, but there'd be signs, you know, and the person takes like 3 paper towel sheets instead of 1. You know, that's wealth. Yeah, but I've had that, and now, you know, it's time to own up and say, hey, I take ownership of what I've done in the past. I take ownership of the things that I haven't done that have led me to where I am. You know, and I consider myself a very blessed and fortunate person. Very happy. Let me see, where am I going here? But yeah, that was something really cool. I'll pop back in a second. I gotta do a pickup. No excuses. No excuses. Yeah, the Jim Rohn video was talking about just that, how we create a list of excuses to justify and try and explain to everybody why we're not where we are and why we're not further along. But true maturity kicks in when you take 100% ownership of your life and the actions that you have taken. And even the things that have happened to you, like, it's fine, you know, take ownership of that as well. And just kind of like in the same vein of that, I saw a cool video where Salma Hayek was saying just that, that even if you make a mistake, you take ownership of it. Own that mistake, own that flaw, because that's yours. Even if somebody says, well, you did this, you say, so what? You know, so what? Like, yes, I made that mistake, you know, and then maybe tomorrow's another day, next month is another month, and, you know, next year will be a better year. But instead of getting tripped up on the errors that have been made along the way, the best thing is to learn from it and grow and be able to reassess and re-coordinate. I could say that. Yeah. What I was gonna say, what mistakes have you made? I don't think that's appropriate. Yeah, no. Like, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only one that feels like this. So I'm sharing it here and letting you know that you're not alone. There's a lot of stuff, you know, that I wish I would have done better. And guess what? Even so, I'm still very thankful for where I am and what I am learning today, and what else I can do with the time that we have here on this earth. Yeah. This is day number 5, and I am enjoying this. I'm enjoying this. I could get used to these videos. I got a little bit of the glow on me. I'm driving around doing this thing. It looks like I've been out in the sun. It's because I've been out in the sun. Yeah. Story time. So it's very interesting. One thing that I will say I have found by being in by doing rideshare is that you get to talk with a lot of different individuals, and it is so interesting, the different types of personalities there are out there, and kind of molds you kind of like, you know, a rock in the river. And begin to see different sides of people, and you begin to see, one could say, trends. I think that the brain looks for things that will make it easier, so you don't have to think about it. This is where stereotypes are created, and two things come to mind. Two people come to mind. Well, not two people, but two types of people come to mind. The one is the person who complains a lot and everything is going wrong, and there is nothing that can make it better. It's very sad to see that when you come across a person like that, because it's like, even if you try to, be positive, it's still, there's always something that is going to be down, and there's no way out, and like it's like everything is going to be bad. But there are other people who they go the polar opposite, and everything is good, and even that can look like a flaw, because it's like, I don't know if everything is good. And I think that we kind of all live, a lot of us live in the middle. It's not all, I can't say all of us live in the middle, but a good part of us live in the middle, where we see the good, we see the bad, and we kind of like move forward, and we try to do the best that we can. The negative person was the first person that I thought about. Second person was this, I believe he was a veteran, and this veteran, he also was in sales, and he got to travel. I don't know if he was not a veteran, but he did work for the government doing contract work. And he was able to travel all around the world. He was an engineer, and electrical engineer, and when people, he was telling me, like, people have this idea when they hear that he's an electric engineer, and they're expecting, it's just electricity. It's like, the way that he explained it to me, it was like, whenever you're an engineer, essentially you're just trying to figure out how things work, and you figure out how they work. That's what the field does. You learn how things operate, how to connect things, how to troubleshoot them. And one thing that he said is like, he has gotten the opportunity to speak to so many different people, and we jumped into this conversation because as soon as he got into the car, he goes, "How you doing? Good morning." He was already retired. He was at that point in his life. He was already retired, and just kind of going to doctor's appointments. And he said, "Good morning." I was like, "Oh, good morning. How you doing today, sir?" He's like, good. So, where are you from? And he said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "Well, I'm from New York." Picked up on the accent, or you're from New York. Okay, where else? It's like, interesting. It's like, well, my family is from the Dominican Republic. They're like, okay, Santo Domingo, I love it. I was like, okay, my friend, cool. I was like, how about yourself? And I was like, I don't want to reveal his past, but I realized immediately. He was like, yeah, he was telling me how he used to go traveling and speaking to a lot of people, kind of like, he became a keynote speaker, and when he was giving these seminars, he would have to be able to communicate, and he could tell by nonverbals, he could tell by the way people were sitting, or the tones, or the way that they would reply, if they were interested. And if they weren't interested, he'd be able to focus in and see how they would be, how he could get them engaged. It was such a phenomenal thing to see, and I picked up on it right away, because the way that these things work is You have to have time with people in order to learn the different types of personalities and the different ways of communication that is going to resonate with that person specifically. Not everybody listens the same. Not everybody absorbs the information the same either. And even for yourself, like learning what that information is very interesting. So I wanted to say that. And he was super positive. He was super, intuitive when it came to the conversation. But when you meet people like that, it's really cool. It's really cool. And yeah. So for those of you who are out there and you're, trying to better yourself, you're trying to, upskill, keep on going. You're not alone in this journey. And yeah, I'll leave a link to that video. I have never left any links on video, so I gotta learn how to do that, and I'm gonna do that on this video. So this is video numero 5, and I'm so happy that you guys are with me on this and just popping in, popping out, whatever it is. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. Okay, you have a blessed day and keep on going. Bye. Ta-ta. Adios.